Shin Campos is a heavy cat.
He's just like a good snowboarder, you know?
Shin's ability to read terrain, snow conditions, is just way beyond, your average snowboarder, your average pro snowboarder, even for that matter.
Where we grew up in the Kootenays is in the Slocan Valley, about an hour from Nelson, BC. Very rural, beautiful area. In grade 8, Shin moved away from the Slocan Valley to move in with his father in Vancouver. I'd go visit them in the city, and Shin would take me skateboarding.
Lived and breathed skateboarding, and then in the winters it would rain or be crappy weather, and then snowboarding was the new thing, and we were just all trying to emulate skateboarding. People were just hungry. It's amazing. It's not like snowboarding now, for sure not. But it's the beginning of a sport. It's the beginning of a sport that's changed people's lives. Well, I moved up here in '91 to hang with my buddies. We worked and snowboarded. I think I even lived in Blackcomb staff. I was just working, and then I started kind of doing the local BCSA contests, and then I met through my work at the Italian restaurant Umberto's, I met Eric Berger. He was just getting into photos. Winning the Canadian Nationals helped with, sponsors. If you could snowboard pretty good, you could be sponsored by the local snowboard shop, and then, you meet people. And through living here and visiting crews or whatever, I would just film a bit with different crews, different people. And then Adventure Scope, I think maybe they invited me on a couple trips, and then Murray Saipo I met, and we did a bit of film work, and then it just sort of happened from there. You would just meet different crews, different companies. Eventually I did stuff with Absinthe, Standard, and I was never that competitive. I'm never like that into competition and the pressure and stuff. I was kind of, I guess I was more into riding powder, Kybers. I was more into riding trees and riding the ski hill and taking tricks from different aspects and bringing them to that kind of terrain.
And he likes to go fast and ride POW, hit big jumps and big cliffs.
If everyone's building a jump, he's looking at a line. If everybody's looking around having lunch, he's probably out finding a cliff.
And he can jump off of things that other people don't see or don't think is possible.
The eyes really turned to the backcountry as the only real viable way to get good shots, because the mountain was too crowded and they were shutting us down. Snowmobiles became the way. And he was on that first wave, There was a bunch of us who rented at first, but then a few people bought sleds. He's one of those first guys. He led that charge into snowmoboarding that is the only way to do business these days.
Shin was definitely one of the first guys to buy a snowmobile. I was kind of thinking, really, do we need to buy snowmobiles? Can't we just rent them a couple days here?
Yeah, we just started going out there, and I think that was the same. Maybe a couple film companies were starting to do more film backcountry sort of stuff. We're exploring new terrain. You're looking to get away from the masses of people, which was like not even masses compared to now, but you were just trying to, just new stuff. And then obviously snowmobiles, right? You were like, wow, these things actually have some power. We can go to all these zones that we could never venture out to before. We were living in Pinecrest, and we had these snowmobiles. We could leave right from our door, right from our couch, jump onto our snowmobiles, buzz up to Tricony, which we found on a whim. So we went up these logging roads, and boom, we're at Tricony, which is commonplace now. You leave right from our house, and boom, you're there. You're hitting these cliff bands, you're doing these POW lines, hitting some pillows and stuff, and then boom, you're back at your couch.
Having pioneered a lot of the places, it means you kind of pioneer how the whole process works. And everybody who comes after you does some variation of your theme.
We saw him a lot in Treetop. He was killing it. Lots of pillow action, and when that ended, he was kind of trying to figure out a direction where he was going or whatever with the film crew, and then Brainwash Cinema came about, and we were lucky enough to Shin came on board because we were all a bunch of little rats. And Shin came on and filmed the whole year together. That was amazing. Probably some of the best lines and jump and whatever I've ever done, and it's probably because of Shin. And he was an old man. He must have been 30, maybe even close to 30, and that was some of the best snowboarding I've ever seen him do.
One of the things that kind of separates the men from the boys when it comes to riding in the backcountry is that ability to look at the mountain and find something just for them. And it's kind of rare. You would think that out there with all the infinite possibilities, everybody would be able to find your own line. But you know, just like in everything else, there's a lot of sheep in snowboarding that are just following somebody else's first tracks. But Shin's not that guy.
If the good snow's there, he'll, on the line, he'll ride a line, he'll build a jump, like, he's always finding stuff, and I think that's why he does what he does today, because everyone knows he's super good at that, and people want him around to help out.
I think it's very neat how he's taken, all that he's learned and all the experiences he's had through his professional snowboarding career. And he's kind of morphed that into a job for himself, helping other groups out around the industry, making sure they have the great trips that he had and make sure they go off flawlessly. And yeah, so I think he's killing it, more or less.
I mean, you can go to school and take as many courses as you want, but until you're out there using that experience, it really doesn't mean anything. Just really knows the elements, you know, it's home for him.
The reason why I'm still doing this stuff, it's, you know, it's a grind, it's not a ton of money, but I still love doing it. I still love being out there with your crew of people. You're out for this day, for this job to do, and you know, you have all these things that you got to battle with, weather, snow conditions, you know, fatigue, you know, all this kind of stuff. So yeah, I still love that sort of mentality. You're out there to do a job with a crew of close friends or whatever, and you know, all these type of things, you're actually usually with people that you want to spend time with. It's not like a regular job where you work with these people because you have to. You're actually working with these people because you want to.
You can see where Shin's priorities are by how his career has evolved. Because as a snowboarder, he got to travel to all these crazy places. And then at his new career, that's continued to be the focus. I mean, seeing the world is important to Shin, and he continues to do it. And he's the guy who, once they set up and get all the shots done, he's hiking the other way and getting his turns too. You know, he's still hungry, he hasn't stopped.
And he basically just like puts the whole trip together, so everybody just has to show up, you know, and just snowboard, and then he's helping with guiding and safety, first aids.
Even though the snowboarders got the knowledge and the skill to do triple cork, it takes someone like Shin to set them up in the right position that they can do it in the backcountry.
He's not just that liability producer who doesn't really know what he's doing. He's the guy who's right beside the guide consulting.
It's funny too, like in the last couple of years when he's been kind of like producing a couple Burton trips for us, and so he'll be on the radio and get all the filmers ready, and we'll all do our thing. And then everyone is at the bottom and the filmers are ready for when Shin goes, because he's gonna do something sick that like none of us did or whatever, and everyone's always stoked.
I mean, you know, a couple months ago he just had a cover of a European magazine. I mean, he's still out there doing a lot. You know, he may not be filming a video part, but he's still, you know, 100% out there and still shredding.
And he just keeps getting better, you know, like he basically retired when he was the best he ever was as a snowboarder.
Still hanging out in the backcountry, like doing exactly what he used to get paid for. He's doing the same thing, but he gets paid for it for a different reason now. It's just sick, like, I don't know. And he still kills it too.
Like a fine wine, he only gets better with age.
Shin was one of the original Canadian professional snowboarders. I mean, there was a few guys before him for sure, but I mean, you know, when you think back to, you know, your original, you know, sort of Whistler, backcountry, powder, free ride snowboarders, Shin's definitely there.
I could never imagine it. When I was like growing up, just started snowboarding, I had no idea as far as career path or anything. And then to think that you would actually apply these hobbies or whatever, these sports that you were just doing because you and your buddies were all into it, and then actually make money and raise a family and, you know, own a house and stuff like that. That's like beyond imagination. Sorry. Hello?